around talking about what they could have done. And I meet a lot of them. From Trinidad all the way to Africa. It'll be at something like this, and it'll be after, and somebody maybe a little older than me will come up and say, you know, I was really, really good and I used to run, but, and then here come this, you know, I hang out with the wrong crowd, or I like to drink, or I like to smoke, or whatever. So I tend to use those examples. Most kids, if you tell them, look, you may think you're good, and maybe you even are good. Good alone doesn't make a champion. I don't think there's any sphere where you can point to somebody who just, by virtue of just being talented, was able to make it to the top. Maybe if you want to be average, you have a shot. But if you really want to be a champion, it has to be the combination of the talent and that burning desire. And make no question about it. 10 years ago, I was, a part of the greatest track and field group in the world, HSI, Maurice Green, myself, Ingrid Miller. I mean, my club brought 4 people to the Olympics, including all 3 spots for the U.S. team, which is just unprecedented. Not even, the Santa Monica Track Club back in the Carlos days did that. But people, I guess reporters would laugh when we explained that the guys that we left at home, most of the times were better than us in practice. Or they were more talented than us, but didn't work as hard. Or they didn't have that competitive fire. Or they couldn't perform under pressure. So all of those things are habits that show up in young, talented kids at an early age. It's like, yeah, I'm good, and not necessarily just in athletics. I mean, you see it on an exam. A kid who is brilliant refuses to focus, channel that energy, and they can't take exams, all that kind of stuff. So it's more of a general problem than something that's specific to sports. But and what you're saying is something that when I speak at a school, the teacher will say, yeah, can you talk to this kid, because this kid is really, but he's too concerned with all the girls' attention that he's getting, or he's too concerned with, focusing only on his athletic gifts and not on the fact that, he's got to fill his brain with, some intelligence and some books before he gets to that. And I will call that kid aside and say, listen, I know you think you're hot stuff. I've met a million kids like you. Most of them aren't going to work. Most of them aren't going to fulfill their potential. Don't be like them. You don't want when you're 30 and 40, because that's the thing about athletics. 1 minute, you're here. The next minute, it's like, who's that again? It happens. It happens. When I retired, the world record in the 100-meter dash was 9.79. It's 9.58 now. I saw an article with myself and they were like, yeah, he's the 12th fastest guy ever. And I'm like, Jesus, I'm 12 now? When I retired, I was like 5th ever. There's a big difference between being able to say you were the 5th fastest human ever, and now it's like 12. I'm like, I'm not going to mention that anymore. So you have to get across to those young, talented kids that, look, being talented alone isn't going to get it done. There's talent all over. Pick the country, pick the city, pick the province. There's talent all over. Unless you have that combination of dedication and talent, forget about it. Yes, sir.
You mentioned about young talent and multi-talented sports people take the case of Nova, wins a gold medal in one sport, and then in the ripe age of early 20s, he decided to go back to athletics. How do you make the decision for the young talent that he excels in more than one sport, perhaps a good sprinter, or a good jumper, or a cricketer? When you have got to make a decision.
Yeah. Let me say first that is she here?
That's why I asked.
She does not get enough credit for having done what she did. Because on the flight over here, I was thinking, okay, so if I had gotten an Olympic gold medal in Atlanta, What other sport could I have gone to and been Commonwealth champion 2 years later? And I was a soccer player. That's where I got discovered playing football and so on. But I have a lot of respect for what she was able to do simply because I saw her show up in Los Angeles. And she showed up saying, I have already conquered, I have achieved the absolute ultimate in one sport. And now I am coming to train with you guys to achieve my goals in another sport. And I can tell you, the first couple months, she didn't look like a runner. She didn't sound like a runner. And we were just like, okay, this experiment is going to be, this might be publicity or something. And then just when you thought, okay, this is not going to work out, something clicked. And then there she was in Kuala Lumpur getting a gold medal. And so I don't think she gets enough credit for that anywhere on the planet. But to answer your question, I tend to encourage, for as long as possible, multiple sports. Because I know, people like Frankie Fredericks and myself, Usain Bolt was a cricketer. He still thinks he's going to be a cricketer. Encourage that for as long as you can. Obviously, there's going to be some point at which the roads are going to deviate. For me, when I made the Olympic team at 18, that was the end of soccer for me. That was it. I had to now become a track athlete. But most kids who are talented are going to be talented in more than one, sometimes even more than two sports. I encourage that. I encourage it for as long as they can until, and you will know, because it will either be a decision based on, say, a championship or a scholarship or money. That's usually how the roads kind of diverge. Encourage it for as long as you can. Yeah.
Speaking of money and athletics, I hear rumours all the time that there would be gridiron players that would be quite accustomed to the 100-metre sprinters and could even break records that are set at the moment. Is that a truism or is it?
You mean in the States?
In the States, yeah.
Make no mistake about it. The United States loses a lot of guys.
The running backs.
Not just running backs, receivers, wide receivers. Randy Moss, it's a lot like Usain Bolt to me. Yeah. They lose a lot of talent to football.
So if they dedicated themselves to athletics, could they
I
achieve something?